You know, every single time you send an email, or buy something online, or even just browse a website with that little padlock icon, you're basically a soldier in a silent, invisible war. It's this constant battle, happening right now in the background of our digital lives to keep our information safe. So let's dive into this and figure out how your secrets actually stay secret.
I mean, this is the fundamental question, right? It's a problem that has challenged everyone from Roman emperors whispering commands to their generals, to the code breakers in World War II, all the way to you, right now, trying to send your credit card number over the internet. How do you get a message from point A to point B, knowing full well that someone might be listening in?
Well, the first thing you'd probably think of is what we call symmetric encryption. It's just a shared secret. Think of it like a physical key to a lockbox. If you and I both have a copy of the exact same key, I can lock a message in the box, send it over to you, and you can unlock it. Super simple. And this is the idea behind a lot of classical ciphers, like the famous German Enigma machine.
But here's the catch, and trust me, it's a huge one. The lock itself, the encryption, can be incredibly strong. That's not the issue. The real problem is getting you that key in the first place. How do I give you a copy of our secret key without some eavesdropper, we'll call her Eve, intercepting it and just making a copy for herself? The second Eve gets that key, our whole secret is blown wide open.
Now, this is where the problem just completely explodes. For two people, okay, you just need one key, fine. But for a small group of just 100 people, to all be able to talk to each other privately, you would need to manage 4,950 unique keys. It gets crazy fast. And on the scale of the internet, with billions of users, the whole system just collapses. It's literally impossible.
So clearly, we needed a completely new way of thinking about this. And the solution that emerged was this beautiful, totally counterintuitive breakthrough that today secures pretty much the entire internet. People often call it the public mailbox solution. So instead of having one shared key, what if we use two different but mathematically linked keys? This is asymmetric encryption. You have one key to lock and a totally different key to unlock. And that simple shift, well, it changes everything. So the first key is your public key. And you can think of this just like the mail slot on your personal mailbox out on the street. You can and should shout this key from the rooftops. Post it on billboards. You want everyone in the world to have it because this key can only do one thing: lock messages. It can only drop letters into your mailbox. The second key is your private key. Now this is your real secret. This is the one you guard with your life. It's like the actual metal key that opens the mailbox. Only you have it, and it must never, ever be shared. It is the only thing on the planet that can unlock the messages that were locked with your public key.
So the secret sauce here, the thing that makes this whole system work, is a special kind of one-way relationship between these two keys. And to really get this, we're going to look at two fascinatingly similar examples of this kind of security: modern computer math and a really ingenious code from World War II.
So the most common method for this, it's called RSA, is based on a really beautiful piece of math. See, it's incredibly fast for a computer to take two massive prime numbers and multiply them together. That's the easy part, the one-way street. But taking that giant number that comes out at the end and trying to figure out which two original primes were used to create it, that is brutally, almost impossibly hard. We're talking it would take our fastest supercomputers eons to figure it out, and that incredible difficulty is what protects your private key.
And what's so cool is that this exact same principle of asymmetry was used in a completely different way by the Navajo code talkers in World War II. The enemy, the Japanese, could easily hear the public signal. That's the radio frequency. That's like the public key. But the private key wasn't some number. It was an entire language and a cultural context that was totally inaccessible to them. So the enemy had the signal, but they didn't have that unique cultural key they needed to actually decrypt it. So this system, it seems perfect, right? Unbreakable. But, of course, no system is foolproof, and attackers are constantly finding really clever ways to get around it, often by avoiding the hard math altogether and just attacking the process instead.
Okay, let's walk through a classic attack. It's called the man in the middle. So imagine Alice wants to talk to Bob securely. She sends him her public key, but Eve, our eavesdropper, intercepts it. Now, instead of just passing it along, Eve swaps in her own public key and sends that to Bob instead. Bob has no idea. He thinks he has Alice's key, so uses it to encrypt his secret message. But he's actually encrypting it for Eve. She can now decrypt it, read the whole thing, re-encrypt it with Alice's real key that she intercepted earlier, and send it on its way. To Alice and Bob, everything looks totally normal, but they've been completely and silently compromised.
And a lot of the time, the weakest link isn't the technology at all, it's us. I mean, why spend decades trying to factor a prime number when you can just send a phishing email that creates a fake sense of urgency, or cook up some fabricated story to trick someone into just giving you their password? The Navajo code talkers actually had a defense for this, a cultural firewall. They had incredibly strict protocol and discipline. They would never ever speak English on the radio, no matter how the enemy tried to trick them.
So we've solved secrecy. That's huge. But this technology can do something that's maybe even more profound. It can establish trust. It can prove not just what was said, but it can mathematically verify who said it. And this is the magic of the digital signature.
To get this, we need one more tool, a hashing algorithm. And the best analogy for a hash is this. You can turn a cow into a hamburger, but you absolutely cannot turn that hamburger back into the original cow, right? A hash function takes any piece of data, a single word, a 500-page document, doesn't matter, and it turns it into a unique, fixed-length string of characters. It's a one-way digital fingerprint.
So here's how we put all these tools together to create a signature. First, you take your message and you create that hash, its unique fingerprint. Then you do something that sounds kind of backwards. You use your private key to encrypt just that fingerprint. And that little encrypted hash is your digital signature. So when I receive your message, I can verify it. I use your public key, which is freely available, to decrypt the signature. That reveals the original hash you made. Then I take the document you sent me and I create my own hash of it. If my hash perfectly matches the one you sent, it is mathematical proof that you, and only you, could have signed it and that the document has not been changed by so much as a single comma.
This creates an incredibly powerful legal concept called non-repudiation. All that means is that you cannot, at some later date, deny having sent that message. It is ironclad, mathematical proof of origin and integrity. In the world of international relations and law, this is the modern equivalent of a king pressing his signet ring into hot wax to seal a treaty. It's simply undeniable.
And this all brings us to right now. And to the future. As artificial intelligence gets better and better at creating incredibly convincing fake video, fake audio, fake text, our own eyes and ears are just not going to be reliable witnesses anymore. And in this coming war for truth itself, the kind of cryptographic verification we've just been talking about might be the only tool we have left to truly know what is real.